ranks, and his incredible victories had made him a legend like his heroes, Alexander and Caesar. However, Napoleon Bonaparte and his great army never crossed the English Channel. On 25 August 1805, they turned their attentions to face England on a completely different battlefield. William Pitt, the Prime Minister of England, had just lost the American colonies in their revolution. Now, France was threatening England's status in Europe. Pitt decided to form a coalition with his allies to thwart Napoleon's ambitions. William Pitt paid the Austrians and Russians in gold to crush the newly crowned French emperor on land, while 175 British warships would continue to hold off Napoleon by sea. Austria and Russia, with a combined force of over 200,000 men, would target two regions allied to the French, the Kingdom of Italy and Bavaria. Inevitably, with a plan of that magnitude, Napoleon's network of spies soon sent word back to their emperor. Napoleon was always a step ahead of everyone, this master first across the continent. Communication and coordination between these multilingual armies would be almost impossible. By moving quickly from his coastal camp, he could strike at the Austrians before the Russian army could even arrive.
He turns his army around and marches it straight east. Unbelievably in complete secrecy, he seals borders, he shuts down newspapers, he sends out bulletins about how wonderful things are on the coast. He leaves some soldiers there to give the impression that he's there. In 40 days, he manages to march all the way across to the front where the Austrians and the Russians are beginning to put their groups together. It's an amazing thing. No one had ever done anything like it.
This speed was achieved because Napoleon had reorganized his army. Instead of one massive force, he created 7 corps. Each corps was a self-contained army in miniature, led by a marshal who was capable of making independent decisions. A corps would have its own staff, its own infantry, cavalry, artillery, supply lines, and even medical teams.
The idea was, though, that they would never be more than a 24-hour march from each other. So if one got in trouble, another one could quickly come in to save the day. That was a far better system for maneuver than the Russian and Austrian systems, which were an old system based on a very central command and requiring enormously difficult communication lines from time to time. But the main thing that the French had that the other folks didn't, of course, was Napoleon himself. The Duke of Wellington is believed to have said at one time that Napoleon's hat on a battlefield was worth 50,000 men.
In less than 6 weeks, the French corps reached the Danube River, catching the Austrian army by surprise. General Mack decided to make a fight of it at the city of Ulm. Napoleon's actions against Mack would become legendary and begin a campaign that would reward him with his greatest military victory, the Battle of Austerlitz.